Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist game podcast. I'm your host, Ben, and with me as always are my co-hosts.
Cut the mic.
Going on, it's Matt.
Buongiorno, it's me, Andrew.
The West Coast boy doing a Brooklyn Italian accent, I see.
Kind of more spaghetti western to me.
Mm-hmm. We are reeling here at Campaign Comrades. We are, standing in solidarity with our slighted and, objectified cast member. The actual Fredo here in the group. Say, Mike, how you?
I
how
will
you
be
doing?
making a complaint to the Screen Actors Guild.
So yeah,
and
if you can't tell, we are referencing the unveiled trailer for the animated Mario movie coming from Illumination Studios in partnership with Nintendo. Chris Pratt doing the Fredophobia of but not
Alien
the fun
erasure.
kind. Yeah, he's doing erasure, not stereotyping. So it's basically not doing the fun kind of Fredophobia, which is
we want the goofs.
Yeah, which is sad to see. He is doing some bit of a Brooklyn-esque accent that like you only catch during like half of what he says, which just is so funny to me because he like talks about like he was talking his shit up. He's like, I worked really closely with the directors trying out a few
like
things.
Nothing you've ever heard
something.
before.
Yeah, and it's nothing you can't wait for people to hear. It's like nothing you've ever heard before. And it's just fucking Chris Pratt voice.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that one before.
You know what it's going to be? And it is something we've heard before, not from him, but it's just going to be a Tom Hardy Venom where there's 18 different accents that he tries out throughout the whole movie. None of them are the same from scene to scene. There's no consistency within a scene.
The problem is he's not going to commit to them as hard as Tom Hardy. And that's the real
Tom
loss.
Hardy's a psycho. Chris Pratt is notably not a psycho.
Well,
I was
in a
hearing a
different
lot
way.
of like
In a
Bradley
different
Cooper.
way.
I would beg to differ.
A different way. Not But I was almost hearing like a Bradley Cooper like trying to be like a Philly accent going.
I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I'm not wrong.
I could hear a Philly accent going on throughout that.
My other issue is it's just not a high enough register. Like he could have thrown his voice up like half an octave at the very least. Like give us a little bit of that.
I did see some interesting theories about why it's this version of the voice, and it's getting a little bit weird in there, but it's the fact that Charles Martinet, the actual Mario voice actor, is on the cast. He is in the movie. So it's good. It's like going to be like, is it just going to be a cameo? Is he actually going to do Mario at some point? I've got one too, and it's just the whole bit that you get from that first bit of where he gets shot out of the pipe, and you hear the original game music. That it's like this is not like our game version of Mario, and it has something to do with Bowser getting the superstar, and like basically he's won now. He has finally won. What's he going to do tomorrow? And it's the whole thing. Like it's like Mario doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know the Mushroom Kingdom, but yet Toad knows him. So what's going on there? There's a little bit of shenaniganry. It's basically that it's going to have to be that it's Mario, but it's not the Mario we know. Bowser has done some sort of chicanery to wipe Mario's memory. And he's got it throughout the course of the movie. He's got to rediscover what it means to be Mario, and it's like at the end he's going to get the star. And it would just be great if he then turns into Charles Martinet Mario, and it says "Woohoo, let's go!" And it's like the real voice, and we say "fuck you" to Chris Pratt and have the real Mario for the final fight.
Oh my god!
See, that's the optimistic take. My pessimistic take is that we're going to hear Charles Martinet as Mario because Chris Pratt is going to be playing Mario in the real world, the original game. And then when Bowser takes the superstar, they're going to be like, we need a hero. And they're going to like see like Chris Pratt playing Mario and like, good enough.
And
pull him into
suck him into the game.
Into Mario.
I'll fucking Jumanji.
Jumanji,
no.
a little bit of Space Jam there if you like squint hard enough.
Oh no!
I like Ben's version much
So
better.
much
Oh,
better.
absolutely. I was saying mine is the pessimistic
Yeah.
take.
I mean, that's how. I mean, it's both of those in a sense work for how the plot has to play out in terms of our central character can't just know what it means to be Mario. It's got to be that journey of rediscovery, or else
We have to find that Mario in all of us.
Yeah, the real Mario is the friends we made along the way. That's actually going to be part of the story
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like, why else? Why wouldn't it be?
I hope that in the secret credits in the end, they say that only the real Mario players are the ones who beat lost levels. Like everyone else is a poser.
I don't know, like we got little hints of some things. I know, Matt, you're really skeptical of the Charlie Day Luigi being very distracting. We only got that little bit of him with the nod. I appreciate the visual nod at least to Luigi's Mansion, but the Luigi being chased by spooky things. But yeah, I don't know.
I was happy to see the Penguins make an arrival.
Yes.
After the amount of their children that were thrown off cliffs in Mario 64.
Yeah. They've built it. They
Hadn't
built
been
a kingdom
fully
make sure
genocided.
that could never happen again. And here comes Bowser to tear that shit down. But yeah, we got to say, and like we're not alone here. Like the reaction has been incredibly polarized. It's uniform, basically. The Chris Pratt voice is off. It's bad. It's just Chris Pratt. But Jack Black, however, on the other hand, is can't touch my king, Jack Black.
Can we just make Jack Black the canon voice of Bowser? Can he just do the voiceover for Bowser for the rest of his life?
And I like that the animation of Bowser even looks like Jack Black.
You saying Jack Black looks like Bowser?
I mean, yeah, he's a handsome
built
man.
Different.
But yeah, there was some we didn't get the Seth Rogen Donkey Kong R.I.P. to that.
I mean, we know what it's going to sound like.
Yeah.
Like, is anyone doubting it's just going to be Seth Rogen?
No.
And
he's going to do the Seth Rogen laugh at some point. There might be some like banana joint joke, maybe.
And like I can totally accept being hypocritical in that I will enjoy just having Seth Rogen voice.
Well, yeah, because Donkey Kong's never had a voice, so like no erasure there. He's just been a ooh ah.
I mean, the only bad voice casting, and the reason that Charlie Day's Luigi could be potentially distracting is because Chris Pratt is a terrible pick for Mario.
We didn't get to hear Anya Taylor-Joy's Peach.
Yeah, we didn't hear Peach. We didn't hear.
I'm not too concerned about that one.
No, me neither. I like Michael Key's Toad. Kevin Michael Richardson did a great Kamek.
He did a good job of not making Toad as shrill and awful as he could have been.
Yeah. But like, I'm highly skeptical of Fred Armisen Cranky Kong. That one I got.
Candy Kong in it too. Wasn't there some?
The only ones listed so far are basically all that we've mentioned here. Sebastian Maniscalco as Foreman Spike. That's the only other one that's actually listed.
Who's the voice of Kamek?
Kevin Michael Richardson, who is definitely a voice actor. Yeah, you've heard before. No, he's good. He did a good job. I really enjoyed Kamek.
I hope that the Japanese version, because there's obviously a Japanese version, has Dio's voice actor somewhere in it.
I mean, the man is absolutely prolific.
He's in everything.
Yeah, the man is absolutely prolific. So I wouldn't be surprised.
He's Bowser.
I've come for your stars. I am. I mean, this is going to make a whole lot of money just because of all the meme potential. This is going to be the next. Like
Illumination movies make money. Nintendo makes money. Mario makes money. Chris Pratt makes money.
Yeah, it's just like
movies make money.
I think
not all of them.
Not all of them, buddy. I don't know. Like I'm a bit of a Chris Pratt apologist just for the Lego Movie. I thought he did a good job in the Lego
Is
movie.
he the main character of the Lego
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah, he's Emmett in the Lego movie.
Huh.
But it's like this is an example. So like he does a good job there, but this is like a prime example of why they should not hire, just big time, big name actors to do voiceover roles.
Well,
They're not good at
and
it. They're not good at it. They're simply just not good at it.
And there's also a reason that he was particularly good in the Lego movie, because Emmett is just a nobody. Like, he's
Emmett
just like
is an
a
average
regular
dude.
Yeah,
And Chris Pratt has an average dude voice.
Exactly.
Regular,
So
everyday, normal guy.
It works perfectly there, but Mario has a very specific voice, and Chris Pratt cannot achieve that.
Yeah. So I mean, we watched it before we started recording, but we didn't mention the French localization for this is what's got everybody excited. Like people are like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna watch this movie in French now, because that voice actor absolutely sounds like Mario, just in a different language. But man, it's got like the pitch and the tenor just
Hashtag
right.
not my Mario.
Yeah. But it's that one gets a little bit, goes a little bit against our theories of what the actual, let's say, plot is going to be. Yeah. But I don't know. Like I feel like they've written this plot because they've cast Chris Pratt. It's not the fact that was their plot. And so like, oh, let's get someone who doesn't sound like Mario to have them,
should have hired Jared Leto and let him method act it for like 3 years.
just become a plumber who never does any plumbing.
I mean, like, if you've seen House of Gucci, you would know that he probably could do a pretty great Mario accent, because he like borders up on it for that movie. It's pretty excellent.
Yeah, man, that would be something else. All right, but that's what we've been. It's been dominating the internets for since its release.
Morbio.
Probably still be talked about by the time this episode comes out. But Nintendo is not the only company that is looking to make more
video game media,
cross media, adaptations of its video game properties. This is the first of stories that we've got a bunch of moves being made from various industry players, but we'll move into this one. Sony, after acquiring just over 14% of From Software, is looking to capitalize on the absolute unqualified success of Elden Ring and just the From Software legacy IP. It should be noted that Elden Ring is riding high. They are currently leading the count for nominations for the upcoming Golden Joystick Awards. They were nominated for Best Multiplayer Game, Best Visual, which is that one's wild to me. Best Multiplayer Game, Best Visual Design, PlayStation Game of the Year, and Studio of the Year for FromSoft.
I attribute Best Multiplayer Game to the fact that there weren't that many great multiplayer launches this year.
Yeah.
Or ever. Really?
I'm just saying this year in particular hasn't had any of the big names. Like Overwatch 2 is one of the bigger names, I guess, for multiplayer games.
But yeah, they're obviously looking to keep riding that high, and we also can't forget Sony is above all a media company.
Yeah,
and they so they're talking about and this was part of a recent interview, which will get us to our next stories. This was Sony Interactive head Herman Hulst, in an interview that was translated, had they've got nothing necessarily to announce for the moment, but that they that they fully expect to do TV and movie adaptations from soft properties.
Like a couple of years ago, I was detailing to a buddy an idea I'd had that would have worked, that I thought if you'd taken Dark Souls, the first one, and you broke it into sections, so you did like the Knights of Gwyn as like your first season or your first movie, and you follow like Knight Artorias through to his downfall. And then you do your second one as like the rise of like the first undead, which would be your player character from, Dark Souls 1. Have that be like season 2, movie 2 or whatever. And then chunk 3 to the final chosen undead, because we skip over Dark Souls 2 because it was poopy. And we go straight to the end at Dark Souls 3. And basically each one would end with like facing your former protagonist.
What do you think? What do you think? And as like our real resident from head, what do you think that, like, and you're the one who's really like embedded in the fan base, what do you think the fans are going to, how they're going to react to these series? Because part of like what makes FromSoft games so popular is the mystique and the ambiguity of its story. It leaves so much room for interpretation and exploration, and the plumbing the depths of the unknown is part of what draws people in, whereas putting things down into a quote unquote canon kind of idea is gonna deteriorate that experience, and it's obviously not going to please certain people if they like that this is the story they're trying to tell. Whereas like I do think it's going to be interesting to, it's like it is an incredibly visual, their IP is an incredibly visually striking element. That's what they rely on, environmental storytelling. So it can be definitely a something that looks good, but it really will, like, whatever story they're telling, it's gonna potentially, I think, ruffle some feathers. But I'm interested in what you think about that.
It's an interesting idea, because when you look at some of the top content that's created around Souls, I've mentioned it to you guys before. Vati Vidya, his series where he breaks the lore of the lore of the games down, based on item descriptions and like context clues, and he kind of like chunks it out for people. Like that gets millions of views every time he drops a video, and like the community itself is more or less grateful for some of his work, because he's making some of that easier for people, so you don't have to check every nook and cranny to get every item, to read every item description, to like piece the whole story together. You have one aggregate that can lay it all out for you after your playthrough or something like that. So do you think pick up the stuff you missed?
Do you think Vati is going to be brought on as an EP? As an executive producer for it?
You should be.
Because the FromSoft people are going to be like, I don't know, what does the story mean?
Yeah, literally what Miyazaki would say.
Like,
just be like,
it's like,
is
I don't
that
know.
the story?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that being something they do, just because some of the lore videos he's put out recently in particular have been very cinematic. He's been pushing more towards cinematic videos rather than speaking over.
Then showing outrageous flow charts.
Yeah.
Man, some of those are hard to get through.
What bothers me most about this is the fact that they're probably going to get George on board with this
for the Elden Ring one.
Yeah, and even more reason we will never ever see
again. I think again,
ever.
I am with Ben on this.
This is a tangent.
Yeah,
this is a tangent. But speaking of George and the Game of Thrones books, we'll put it down here in podcast. What are the official podcast stance on the Game of Thrones books is that they are already written, but that they will not be published
when he's dead.
It will not be published until the man is dead, because he knows the fan reaction is going to be bad. He knows, like, he's tried to distance himself from, like, oh, they didn't involve me at all in the last few seasons, whereas we know that's bullshit, and we know that he gave them the overarching outlines for the ending. Yeah. So he knows that the fans aren't going to like what he's got.
But
so
if he's dead, then it's post-mortem respect.
Yeah, and he's made enough money. He doesn't need to worry about their financial success. His estate is going to be fine. So it's just be like, they can deal with that. I don't need to deal with that. I can go, dick around on a film set, on a movie set, and have fun. I don't need to actually
name
deal
spooky crabs.
Yeah. I don't need to actually deal with criticism.
Right. Because he hates his fans at this point. Like I think he's pretty upfront about that.
No, they're
He's a Giants
already
and
written.
Jets fan,
They're
so
already
self-loathing is real.
Yeah, they are already written. They're in a vault somewhere and will be released upon his death. That is the firm stance of which the podcast takes. But back to that. So it's I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna watch these because again I feel like they will be visually striking at the very least. They're gonna look good, and it's just like I just don't know how well the ambiguous storytelling of From Software makes its way into
So like it's
a
one
more
like
explicit
the
media.
two that stand out to me that would work the best would be Bloodborne and Sekiro, as they have more of a coherent drawn out story. Sekiro in particular would be amazing.
I think you're right about that one. I didn't put that one in. For some reason I always forget about Sekiro, but I think that is probably very true. And would be right up Sony's alley. Anyways, they're already doing the Ghost of Tsushima video or the movie.
They do Ghost of Tsushima, they do Sekiro, and then they do Sekiro versus Ghost of Tsushima.
So I'll be watching if they do it, but it'll be a while before anything comes out. But Sony would be kind of foolish to not try to capitalize on it. I mean, they're already doing they're making a fucking Gran Turismo movie. Like you're telling me they're not gonna do something with FromSoft? That would just be outrageous. But so from that interview that I mentioned previously, we've got further discussion about how Sony is continuing to invest in PC, mobile, and Boo live service games. They are continuing to release PC games, some that are coming later this year. Name for what?
Boo live service games. Or were you adding the Boo?
No, I was adding Boo.
Okay. I was going to say that's actually okay.
No.
Did you think a Boo live service game?
something about
no idea.
Boo. No, I'm saying
Majin Boo.
Yeah, no, that was my own editorializing. That
Boo
live service, we don't like it.
No.
If you did that on Reddit, your post would have been banned for editorializing the article.
Yeah. They're continuing to release PC games, which definitely I know we all support here. Some coming later this year are Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. The Last of Us Part 1 remake is also coming to PC, but the date has
Returnal
not been,
was also one of those like floating in the ether ones.
Mm-hmm. Right. So one thing that the name Herman Hulst makes me laugh. But so what Herman is saying is that these single player games that are coming to PC, the strategy is largely going to be that they'll come a year after console, but that live service games will be day and date. And just
which makes sense to an extent with like their own ownership of Bungie. So like Destiny 3 being day and date, PC and PS makes sense.
Yeah, but remember also that at some point Sony plans to launch 10 live service games until 2026.
We'll have like Last of Us Factions,
probably that Horizon multiplayer game that's
you'll have a Destiny 3 in there definitely somewhere.
Man, Destiny 2 keeps getting like better and better like reviews from what I see. It's like it was like oh, it's not.
It always gets revived, and
we know we're critical of the live service model here, and kind of sucks to see them kind of going all in. But and then there's they're also pushing their mobile initiative, which I thought I had it here in the notes. I forget what Sony made their own mobile studio purchase. That it's like the name is at the back of my head, but that happened earlier this year. Savage Game Studios. So they're pushing on with that. They're moving all their IP. That's it's one thing that again that you can't deny that they have a clear advantage in their back catalog of established IP that they're just going to be able to make mobile versions of whatever.
I was gonna say, to port PS2 and PS1 games to mobile is not a very difficult process at this point. PS3 is where it gets funky because the PS3 is its own animal from processing. Like it had like a special CPU APU architecture that made rendering like different on it than any other console.
That's why you can only stream PS3 games through PS Plus now. And speaking of PS Plus, data miners have, I don't know if you saw this, Matt, dug into Spider-Man Remastered, the recent PC release, and have found evidence for a PC launcher that will connect to PS Plus and cloud streaming, which people were talking about. I remember when PS Plus was announced, they're like, oh, the people who actually lose here were PS Now PC players, because it was PS Now was was getting removed, which was the only way that PC players could access PlayStation games, and there was no way to bring PS Plus into the PC environment. But until
that was the next logical step of their program, was to move it towards PC based launcher as well, and potentially either book it into the top tier plan where it's like you get it on PC as well, or create another tier where you get everything on PS and PC.
Can't we
how Xbox does it with Game Pass Ultimate works that way, where it's both platforms.
I can't wait to have yet another PC launcher cluttering up space on my fucking desktop.
We don't know yet if they're going to take away direct launch from Steam with this, or if this will just be if you have the PS Plus, you can load that on your computer and access the games through that instead of having Steam or whatnot.
This is a tangent as well, but while we're quickly talking about launchers, I don't have this in the notes, but because this was new, something about EA is getting rid of Origins or replacing Origins with something else.
Didn't Origins replace something else that they had already?
No, they're replacing it with the EA launcher or whatever, right? That's been in beta forever.
EA has EA Play, and is Origin EA? I thought Origin was Ubi.
No, Origin is EA. Ubisoft has its own thing. It's just
Ubisoft Connect.
It's just Ubisoft Connect. Yeah.
Yeah, Origin.
Origin is the.
Oh yeah, because it was Battlefront 2. That's why I had Origin launcher. Because I had a coworker who wanted to play Battlefront 2 one night and then never again.
Yeah, it's just the EA app, the one that's been in beta for
literally years, at least over 2 years at this point. It's been in beta.
And that's just going to be completely subsuming Origin, which again, it's like an app that a launcher that I will only ever use if I absolutely have to.
I consider Origin launcher to be malware.
Yeah.
It turns its permissions back on, which I think is scummy, which is why I don't like it.
That's fucking annoying. That is scummy.
It's I would always go in and be like, no, do not open on boot of computer. And every second time I would turn my computer on, it would be like, oh, I'm here again. right on launch. You want to use me? Come on, open Battlefront 2. You know you want to. There
have been some more industry movers and shakers, getting stuff done behind the scenes. The big gaming tentacle monster Tencent is further seeking to increase its control over foreign markets and foreign publishers, and most analysts are saying it's largely being driven as Tencent denies this, but is largely being driven because China is strengthening their regulations on these large conglomerates back at home. So
I have a
they
theory
only
on that.
basically their only
You
way
have
to
to also
grow is
remember that China also regulated gaming for younger people.
yeah. No,
So
it's
like
just
regimented timing.
yeah, they're
So
control
like
their
the growth policy.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, Andrew, what is your
I
theory?
have a theory here that China made those rules specifically to encourage these companies to go global so that they can increase
everything.
their power across the globe and become the number one world power through video games.
Yeah, that'll be Embracer Group.
The President G, we salute you. We're ready to
He's 10 steps ahead at all times.
Yeah. But yeah, so Tencent is they're switching up their acquisition strategy. You know, largely what they had been doing was getting little bits of stakes in companies all over the place, little minority stakes here and there. But they are now, quote, moving to aggressively seeking to own majority or controlling stakes in overseas companies. So this will add to
Same.
So this will add to their currently have a 40% stake in Epic. They've got shares in Activision, Ubisoft, PUBG Studio, the PUBG Studio parent company Krafton, Platinum Games, From Software. I think they've got a similar percentage in FromSoft.
Yeah,
as
Sony
does.
has 14%. I think Tencent has 9 or 10.
Yeah, it's close.
They bought similar chunks. Sony had a smaller chunk beforehand. How it worked, if I remember.
But Tencent up until this point has had fewer full acquisitions. Currently, they own 100%.
I don't know. 40% of Epic sounds like damn near a full percent to me.
Damn near close to a controlling interest. That's absolutely true, undeniable. But they own 100% of Funcom, Riot Games, Sumo, Turtle Rock, Digital Extremes, and Splash Damage. But yeah, they're so they remain the number even before this changed. They're the number one in terms of revenue. They
they just bankrolled that Logitech handheld as well.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they've got their their fingers in every pie when it comes to gaming, including some of these media companies that are starting to do some of this again cross media push, which is we're seeing more and more and more. Yeah, it's interesting to see where they're going to come in. I'm interested to see how it will potentially play into regulatory efforts that we will be talking about in just a moment. But the last little bit of industry news is not really say game studio, but it's still gaming adjacent. Fandom, the world's largest fan platform, has acquired a portfolio of different entertainment and gaming brands, including Ventures, GameSpot, Metacritic, TV Guide, Game FAQs, Giant Bomb. Which does that mean? So that means that they got the boy Jeff Grubb. Isn't he part of Giant Bomb?
Yeah.
Cord Cutters News and Comic Vine.
Don't you just love when media consolidates?
Mm-hmm. Fuck, I didn't even know TV Guide was still a thing.
They'll all share the same opinion.
Yes.
I didn't even know that TV Guide was still a fucking thing.
Same.
It's like they're still sending circulars to your grandparents.
Yeah, for sure, man.
That's a that's a lucrative market. I guess
I've seen like a joke trailer for it where it was like, you ever want to watch a never-ending cycle of what's on TV with half the screen being a paid-for ad?
R.I.P.
Yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe
victim,
it's
victim
still
of
going.
the streaming wars.
Yeah, I follow Fandom on YouTube just for the Honest Game trailers. That's it.
Always a good one.
That's it. But like I was like, wow, yeah, Honest Game trailer guy, like he's making money moves. Epic voice guy is making money moves here.
Get that.
I like when I hear him in like other media.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of work done. He was the head guy. Remember when I was streaming, you were looking into it. He was the head guy in XCOM 2. He was the chat, like the what did they call it? Like the the shadowed council member guy who you never saw his face.
Yeah.
Hello, Commander. He was that fucking guy. But yeah, I mean, I know obviously GameSpot, that's a quote unquote games journalism media.
You say that of all of the games journalism media outlets, that's one of them.
Yeah. It's that one does more like that one's more, they're more active basically on YouTube and stuff. But Metacritic is interesting. That the fact that they purchased
controlling ratings
is interesting. But the thing is though, it's not like this is a studio that's doing this.
I know.
That would be what's weird. That would be like
until you see who owns fandom and then what they own, and then it all turns out to be the whatever that was.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a holding company that's owned by Tencent. Because we've talked about it in the past too. That's like a big thing with how Tencent did their shit. Even if they didn't seem to have direct control, they
owned the company.
They owned the complete stakes in whatever this random ass holding company that had the stake in whatever the minority stake.
Yeah, because that's how Tencent owns Reddit. Is the joke there? Is that they own the majority stake of a company who owns like 30% of Reddit.
I just love capitalism and corporate law. It's my favorite.
You're just jealous that you can't own a holding company that can own every other company.
You're right. I am.
Say, don't you love how our governments both here in the US and abroad are doing their damnedest to regulate all this shit. They're doing it
for my best intention. They trust me. No, they believe in me.
Yeah. Why would America want to regulate this? We're just, a bunch of corporations in a trench coat anyways.
That gets us to our.
I'm actually three trench coats in a person. This will be like, the major story till it either goes through and then people will probably never talk about it again. Or if it doesn't go through, or if it doesn't, still be a major story.
Yeah. But the Activision deal is moving along despite all sides' best efforts to tank it. That's what always is so funny to me. It's like that they're doing all this shit that's just like so bad and so suspect, yet things just keep on chugging along, as we see it. They can't. These deals are too big to fail. They literally can't do anything that will actually jeopardize the possibility of it going through. And so the first one being that the National Labor Relations Board has found that Activision did union busting. Big surprise here, but that they illegally withheld raises for QA testers at Raven when they were campaigning to form a union. So you guys probably remember this story. We talked about it when it happened, but the investigation has finally come back, as we here on the pod knew was the case, which is funny. Again, it's like we know that this was illegal, but is anything going to happen from it? No, because the NLRB
they'll be fined.
Has no teeth.
Toothless.
Yeah, if like anything, they'll be fined a small amount that really is meaningless to them.
So and
it's probably still less.
Because fines are just the cost of business, baby.
Yeah, but it's less than it would cost to give.
They budgeted for it.
To give these raise increases, but just to refresh any listeners who may not have paid attention or may have forgotten, that while the Game Workers Alliance, the union at Raven, was in the process of organizing, Activision converted just over 1,000 QA contractors to full-time staffers and increased the minimum wage to $20 per hour. However, they conveniently excluded all workers at Raven, who were among the lowest paid in the studio. The spokespeople for Activision at the time claimed that due to laws under the National Labor Relations Act,
hide behind the law and say it was like, we can't do it for the union people because then it's coercion.
Yeah, so the company wasn't allowed to change the pay rate of its employees in the midst of a union effort. The CWA, the Communication Workers of America, the group that is, or the union that is representing the Raven workers, I said that this was an absolutely disingenuous attempt at union busting, and the NLRB has come back and said yes, this is the case. but
You're right.
That's not going to stop them from doing similar shit to, like, say, like the Albany group that's still organizing, which has gone silent from, at least from what I've heard. I haven't heard much of anything come out of that camp.
That's by design.
Well, I mean, it's good practice for the organizers. They want to keep that shit internal and keep those cards close to the chest. They obviously absolutely don't want to be broadcasting their plans out there. But haven't seen any outrageous acts of union busting like we've seen. 6
months from now, we're gonna be like, oh, whatever happened to that? We're going to look into it, and they're going to have liquidated the studio and moved it.
Yeah. Which they basically already did. Those were the vicarious visions people. So the next little bit, again, it's like, Activision is just such a fucked up company. Like that, just like, again, should be just we should burn that sucker down, give all their employees good jobs at other studios. But so let's look at this one. Controversial Activision executive Frances Townsend steps down from her position but assumes an advisory role for the board. So she was the chief compliance officer.
Nice.
She was a controversial figure before joining Activision Blizzard. Get this. In the early 2000s, during the invasion of Iraq, she held the position of assistant to the president of Homeland Security and counterterrorism under George Bush. The Washington Post reported in 2004 that Townsend turned the infamous Abu Ghraib prison during the height of the U.S. military's torturing of prisoners at the facility. According to the Post, an officer at the prison told U.S. Army investigators that Townsend pressured him to extract more and better information from prisoners in his capacity as head of the Joint Interrogation and Debriefing Center, which should just be translated as the Torture Center. The Torture and Dehumanization and Humiliation Center at Abu Ghraib. Townsend, for her part, denied witnessing abuse of prisoners during her tour.
No, but she just told him to do the torture better.
Yeah, don't take pictures of it, you idiots.
Yeah. Discreetly.
But why she's controversial for her time at Activision is that in 2021,
the exact same thing.
Discounting the times of emotional and mental torture. In July of 2021, near the outbreak of all the Activision controversies surrounding the workplace culture, Townsend emailed employees about all these allegations against the company, claiming that the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing lawsuit, quote, presented a distorted and untrue picture of Activision Blizzard, including factually incorrect, old, and out of context stories from some more than a decade ago. But of course, after she steps down, Chief Shithead Bobby Kotick is like, she did a great fucking job. We love Frances. She's a great lady. Doom
never tortured me. Severance package.
Yeah, never tortured me or any of my other executives.
Unconsensually.
Yeah.
True.
Plenty of consensual.
Yeah, she did some consensual cock and ball torture, but that's irrelevant for these discussions.
Many people are saying it.
But oh man, it's just like, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. A chief executive here in a video game company was a torture person.
That's wild to me.
Well, yeah. So imagine you have to go negotiate with your manager on a pay raise, and it's the chief torture executive from the Bush administration. You walk into the room, the door closes. It's 15 degrees colder than the rest of the building.
It's just a box.
Your chair
is literally the boo box. It's literally the boo box.
No.
Your chair is bolted to the ground and hardened steel.
Yeah.
And
It's uncomfortable.
They wheel out fucking what's his name from Casino Royale to do the non-consensual cock and ball torture.
I think his name is Sharif or something like that.
Lashif.
Lashif, yeah, it's
Lashif.
Yeah, it's just
Some say that Daniel Craig actually did that.
did the cock and ball torture. But for some reason I'm blanking on the actor who is, Mads Mikkelsen.
It's Mads Mikkelsen.
They're bringing out Mads Mikkelsen in the mocap suit for the next Death Stranding, and he's doing cock and ball torture to you, but non-consensually. This again, you can't make this shit up. It's just it's a large cesspool that it makes me very sad and very mad.
Just the fact that like the place that's getting investigated for workplace harassment issues employed as their chief compliance officer someone aligned with the Abu Ghraib prison scandal and torturing, just like you couldn't write that yourself. That
not just someone involved, a little more than just
they literally told them to do more torturing.
Yeah.
You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough torturing, folks.
Man.
If
a writer's room came up with that, they would be laughed at.
Yeah, it's like, and you wonder how these industries are able to dehumanize their employees.
Hey, if you just put a laugh track,
that's nothing.
It sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah, so that's nothing. That's nothing compared to what this lady's done. But yeah, don't we love the boss bitches? Don't we love the girl boss?
Girl boss.
Can you see it now? You're sitting there in your desk and like, oh, the new boss is coming in. They're like, I heard she was part of the torture group for the Bush administration. Then the elevator opens up and she walks out and like she trips and like laugh track plays. It's like, oh, she's not that scary.
Breaking the glass ceiling onto your head.
Yeah. Man. So yeah, that's the Activision side of it. Microsoft is
Microsoft will save us, right? They'll make it better.
They're doing everything they can to make this deal seem absolutely laughable.
That webpage is wild.
Yeah, they put out the fact that if you
thirsty.
If you have to put out a website to trying to tell regulators,
tell everyone how good the deal is.
Yeah, that something's gone wrong. There's just an entire page of just quotes that are supposed to help convince them that this is a good move and not problematic. I'm not even going to bother.
The nice things people are saying.
Wish they would attribute those to the actual people who said them. It's like random Reddit user 27.
or the C-suite, one of the two.
Yeah. Definitely not paid for Twitter posts by a marketing intern.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste our time going through all the quotes because we've heard plenty of these things and discussed them when they came out in real time. And they're just, trotting all these things out again. But the ones that I'll bring your attention to again are they're asserting over and over again that, and they continue to double down that and pulling up all these quotes about how Sony is on board with this. We had a perfect phone call.
Tim Ryan, he was crying for more. He said it was amazing, best deal ever.
But surprisingly, in fact, Sony is not cool with this deal. In fact, Jim Ryan, the Sony CEO,
Brussels.
Flew to the EU headquarters in Brussels on the 8th of September to voice concerns, over the deal. It was same sources that broke this bit are also saying that Google has voiced similar concerns, which I just thought was interesting because they've done they're differentiating themselves, say as the big tech company to oppose it, whereas Meta has been all on board. We've talked about that on
Meta's
the previous one.
Got some shit going on.
But it's not like Google has
trying to stay a company.
It's not like
I think the
Google
funniest
doesn't
thing I've seen
have
about
those
Meta
problems.
is that they were like trying to convince their employees to use Horizon. They're like, please use our virtual metaverse, please.
And everyone was like, no. Have you seen how bad it is?
But yeah, it's so all these efforts on both sides are just absolutely laughable. Yet we see that again, it means nothing because we talked about it a while back. Like it was thinking like, oh, there's all these concerns brought up, all these issues being addressed in Brazil's Administrative Council for Economic Defense, which is localized as CADE, CADE. But they've recently come out and said that they approved the merger with no restrictions. Their quotes are interesting, and I kind of want to read them for you guys just to see how where their arguments fall, and see how you guys if you agree or not. Because I think they make some valid points, but doesn't mean it's good. But so they say, considering the huge popularity of Call of Duty, it is reasonable to infer that if Activision Blizzard games were no longer available on Sony consoles, PlayStation users could decide to migrate to Xbox or even a PC to continue having access to franchise games. On the other hand, it's also reasonable to assume that if upcoming Call of Duty games became exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem, players loyal to the PlayStation brand could simply abandon the series, migrating their demand to other games available on their favorite console. Despite this, one cannot rule out the possibility that Microsoft may deem potentially profitable to adopt an exclusivity strategy on Activision Blizzard games, even if a decision in this direction could result in the sacrifice of a relevant part of sales, users, and even the Call of Duty popularity. Which is like, that's a direct contradiction to what Microsoft has said. It's like, it makes no business sense for us to limit who can play this game, where they completely allied the fact that it's like, yeah, but you're still putting it on Game Pass, which day and date, which is just absolutely not the same as expecting PlayStation owners to pay $70 for the next Call of Duty. So they say this is because, in theory, such a strategy could contribute to boosting Xbox sales, expanding the Game Pass subscriber base, and strengthening the network effects on the Microsoft ecosystem in order to offset any loss of revenue from the sale of games on the short term. Exclusive games are a benchmark of competition between Microsoft and Sony, although no company has so far developed or acquired an exclusive game that has decisively shifted the balance in favor of a console. This is because proprietary exclusive games are less popular and represent less revenue than third-party AAA games, which until then are available on Xbox and PlayStation. Their reports concluded that, saying, as already seen, Nintendo does not currently rely on any content from Activision Blizzard to compete in the market. In turn, Sony has several predicates: strength of the world's leading brand for more than 20 years, extensive experience in the sector, largest user base, largest installed base of consoles, robust catalog of exclusive games, partnerships with multiple publishers, brand loyal consumers, etc., which should contribute to maintaining the competitiveness of PlayStation in a possible post-operation scenario, even in the face of possible loss of access to Activision Blizzard content. So I think largely it's probably true. It's like we've talked about moving Call of Duty to exclusively on Xbox and the Microsoft ecosystem. I mean, Sony themselves has the data to prove that those deals do have an impact, but not an impact that's going to make that's going to run them out of business.
No.
Yeah, they're not going to ever be run out of business.
No, this is all good. What, for the most part, like accurate analysis as to what will happen here. The real issue that they're not addressing at all is then like what happens after this merger in terms of other corporations wanting to buy up other players, and then like that's where this starts to get like bad for everyone, is when it becomes just truly these three main players like it will.
Excuse me, 3? You're forgetting about Tencent, my friend.
Yeah, you're right. 4. Well, it's really, honestly, I've lied. It's one big player because Tencent's going to buy all of them, and that'll be it. Be done.
It'll be Tencent versus Nintendo, and Nintendo will still have a niche.
A tale as
carved
old as
out.
time.
Tencent do what Nintendo don't.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. Yeah, the Nintendo is like its own beast and like has a lower ceiling in terms of their market share, but a higher floor. You know, it's like they do its own thing. They're the only ones who basically do.
All you
what
have to do
Nintendo
is release a Mario, a Zelda, and then like one other legacy
Splatoon
on a new console, and you've got a console.
Done.
So yeah, I mean, it's just like it is. Yes, large. I think you're right, Andrew. It's like this is you know, largely correct analysis, but kind of misses the forest through the trees type of thing.
Yeah.
And so they are the second now regulatory group, if you can call whatever Saudi Arabia's government.
I mean, like
body
this isn't far off of that
Yeah, isn't
level
Brazil
of
Bolsonaro?
Yeah, but they also are an enormous market.
Yeah.
Brazil is huge.
Brazil.
I just know that Bolsonaro likes to make decisions to distract from his pooping problems.
But also
In like the 18 bouts of COVID
his
he's had.
his
Yeah,
his
he
son-
gets COVID
his-
every month.
His sons are gamers.
They are.
Oh, did you guys, speaking of Bolsonaro, did you guys see the bit where he did like a campaign event in GTA?
Yeah, in Grand Theft Auto.
No.
Yes, I did.
In like
Oh, that's
GTA Online or
fantastic.
something. Yeah, they went around in it, like basically a you know, a car with speakers on it, and were, you know,
Plastic
doing it.
song
Yeah,
for Bolsonaro.
Come to Brazil.
It's hilarious.
so yeah, that was funny. Okay, we still got a little bit of time here, so we've got a few other little extra story things. These ones kind of move in with the similar you know, moves being made on the executive fronts of all these companies. But we've got
These
you know,
names, man. The names of these people.
so we already talked about Frances Townsend or whatever. Was that actually her her name? Yeah,
Yeah, that
Townsend,
was her name.
But so this one is funny to me, is also very funny to me, mainly because again, we love to see Ubisoft continue taking L's. But Ubisoft's chief creative officer, Igor Mansu, I don't know how you pronounce that, will step down next month after only a year in the job. Doing lots of creativity there. But you know, our boy Yves made a statement saying, for personal reasons, Igor has expressed his desire to step away from Ubisoft, and following this decision, we want to update you on how we're approaching this transformation. From now until his departure at the end of November, Igor will be dedicated to accompanying, laughing every time we say Igor, and justly so. So Igor will be dedicated to accompanying the evolution of the structure into specific polls organized by key segments for Ubisoft, so that it is better adapted to the variety of our portfolio and unique needs of each project. Can somebody translate that for me?
Buzzword.
Oh my
buzzword.
God.
Like, that means nothing.
Literally nothing.
We're not making this guy do anything for the last month of his time here.
I mean, yeah,
That's what a way to work.
But that's just
He
the
probably
proof.
got
All these
onboarded for a
jobs
month.
are make work. All
Yeah.
these positions are just make work
Yeah.
jobs for fucking rich fail sons.
The man probably got onboarded for a month, did nothing for like 3-ish months, had like one project given to him, and then they're like,
It was like,
It was
yeah.
in a lot of meetings. It was in a lot of meetings,
Yeah.
sent a good amount of emails.
yeah.
his,
there.
his harassment numbers were not high enough.
Yeah.
Gotta
Ubisoft
pump those
didn't have
numbers
enough
off
up.
time.
that he
He
was
didn't have
like
enough time.
enjoying the harassment.
Yeah.
Also,
Like
this
they're
was
trying to get better, so they got rid of him.
this was the guy who replaced his predecessor, who it doesn't say was actually accused of being a
Sage.
harasser, but left during the reckoning with all the the great purge that Ubisoft did after all that shit came to light.
God
So
damn.
the guy had led the Riders Republic studio, Ubisoft and Annecy, I don't know,
But it doesn't matter.
something
It's
French. So it's like, again, these executives are fucking just hilarious people to me. This one that has a potential a little bit more meat to it, and it's a little bit you know, tie in on multiple fronts. Wizards of the Coast, the company that owns Dungeons and Dragons, has appointed former Microsoft e-commerce vet as the new senior VP of D&D. This guy, Dan Rawson, his position is a new one, and some make work stuff created as part of Wizards' plan to apply all their new resources to the digital side since their acquisition of D&D Beyond. So this guy was formerly the chief operating officer of Microsoft Dynamics 365. And according to the press release, he brings decades of leadership in strategic business, e-commerce, and product management. So this all has to do with Wizards trying to
monetize D&D Beyond.
Yeah, they're accelerating the process of capturing more of the online audience through that type of stuff. But yeah, they're bringing the microtransactions to D&D, folks.
Hell yeah.
We said this in
Web3.
Matt.
Can I just pay $3 to get a nat 20?
I say when Matt and I did the episode, just the two of us on the new D&D updates. If we talked about this, how they're moving D&D into, like, they're abandoning editions and making it they're making a physical product into a live service model. Yeah. And so that includes, all the e-commerce bullshit that comes with it. So fuck, that sucks. That's shitty.
Yeah. Can't wait to buy a horse armor pack.
For your steed who you forget you own and leave in some random fucking town.
Never see again.
You spent like 100 gold on and when you were level 1,
and to get that 100 gold you needed 10 Ethereum.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I just can't wait to play 3rd edition D&D. Just we go back to Monk. Return to Monk.
Return. Reject modernity, embrace tradition. Okay.
I only want to play original D&D that Gary Gygax created.
That's full of the racism.
Yeah, just
full of the problems.
Just exclusively racist.
And that guy.
That's why we're gonna play it.
It was something special. But speaking of something special,
I love this story.
Our last little thing.
This story.
My brain hasn't been the same since the and I just want to get everybody's thoughts on the hands 9 chest cheating / butt plug saga.
Okay, well, so he did the butt plug is not true.
You don't know that.
Part is not
you
true.
don't know that.
No, yes, I do know that because I watched.
Like, was the butt plug?
Seriously, did you investigate what was in his ass?
Yeah, did you go in that hole?
This is why I know it was fake, because Ludwig started the fucking meme on his channel, and like it got blown out of proportion.
That's ridiculous.
Listen, the number 1 chess player in the world is saying this guy cheated.
It's Magnus Carlsen, and I won't stand for slander.
He definitely
saying he cheated in person.
He did not cheat.
I don't know how you cheat in person. If you've been scanned up and down and patted around, the only other answer is the human pocket. So
I'm just imagining though, like from future chess tournaments that, like, the security guards doing all that stuff. They got to check what's in your ass now.
Yeah.
At the airports, the 3D body scan thing you walk through.
Yeah.
Gonna have one of those
that poofs air on you.
I just really want it to be true because I don't care. I want it to be true.
Yeah, you can't convince me
facts
otherwise.
Can't affect my feelings.
Yeah. Props to Neiman for keeping a straight face and not ever giving the O as he got his colon vibrated for an hour. That is incredible.
Yeah, just getting his prostate stimulated for a straight up hour, just like ooh, say knight to E12 or whatever.
Yeah.
No, and also the butt plug can't be true because one of the allegations was he was like too composed or whatever. It was that he was too composed during like big moments of the match. So like even if
that just takes some training.
Edging.
Yeah, I was gonna say have you never edged?
Not even that, but like when you edge, you still have you still are,
speak for yourself,
being
friend.
pleasure.
Has this man talked to Sting before? He's a
I don't know.
tantric.
Yeah. All he needs is a
Tantric
guru.
lover.
All he needs is a guru. You got to retain. You got to retain all that.
Michael
all that
Myers as the
emotion.
love guru. Yeah, that was a thing.
I want women to love me, so then I will love myself. That movie is underrated.
Underrated for many reasons.
Yeah.
Mariska Hargitay. Mariska
Yeah.
Hargitay.
Mariska Hargitay.
Yeah, so there was an investigation though conducted by chess.com found that Neiman has likely cheated in more than 100 online games. But yeah, despite all the accusations, there's been no evidence to found that he cheated against Magnus Carlsen, the number one.
How is every chess person named after a 1700s composer? I don't understand.
I mean, because it's
so there's a
European.
correlation here between the amount of people who would hang out with them when they were younger and the amount of time they had to play chess by themselves based on their name.
Just on name alone.
I don't know how you
like,
pronounce.
oh, look at Magnus. He's over there by himself. Like, let's throw dodgeballs at him.
I don't know what it's FIDE. I don't know if it's
that's the chess
acronym,
governing body.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, but I don't know if you say like FIDE or FIDE or if you just say FIDE. But it's the World Chess Governing Body
F is silent-eyed.
Yeah, they are.
if it's FIDE, it's like fidelity. FIDE.
They, however, are conducting their own investigation into all this shit. A 3-person.
They're gonna get a vibrating anal bead set and they're gonna put it in him and see how long he can last on it without making
timer set until you come. That's gonna be.
You see, Your Honor, if the beads will not read.
That's I think absolutely, regardless of whether it's true or not, absolutely legendary. My brain has not been the same since, and you cannot convince me that he didn't cheat using his ass.
Yeah.
Episode title: If you can't read the beads, you cannot succeed.
It's definitely going to be some type of ass reference. But yeah, that's all I got today. We moved through it at a good clip. So, plug time. You'll notice a difference, folks. You can follow us at Twitch at Campaign Comrades. That's what it's always been. Mind trick. You can sub with your Twitch Prime. Do it. Or give us real money. But come see us every week. You can
or fake money. Money's cool too.
Yeah, you can come join the conversation on Tuesdays when we do our Uncut Comrade stream, where we talk about all the various stories that couldn't make the cut for the pod. But then we've got our individual game streams. Mike, hit him with your own plug.
Well, I mean, first of all, you can catch me at TCG Player Cut the Mic Gaming. But another plug, there's a change.org petition going around to replace Chris Pratt with Kujin for the voice of Mario.
A real Brooklyner, absolutely.
Yeah. So go sign that.
Hell yeah, man. You're gonna have to say maybe I have to put a link to that in the fucking show notes. Yeah. All right, folks. We will see you next time.
Arrivederci.
Bye.
Bye.